Ah ha ha! Ah ha ha! Ah ha ha ha! Oh, sh. Welcome to Foibles and Fights, the swordiest sword show that ever sworded. I'm your host, Mike Fatum, creator of the League of Swords, a high-octane sword-fighting experience you can find more about on this very channel. And today, on this sword fight choreography show, we're going to talk about guns. First, I just want to say something as a fight choreographer. In the modern era, with the number of tragedies that we've seen on film sets involving live firearms, and the ease of adding gunshot effects in digitally in post, there is no longer any excuse to be using a live firearm on any film or TV set. Even on the stage, there are safer alternatives you can use. And if you must, for some damn reason, use a live firearm on your set or your show, don't point it at anybody, ever. Stage your shots responsibly. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be making stories with violence in them. You're not qualified to keep your cast and crew safe. The gun had replaced the sword almost completely by the 17th century. And if you're going to be choreographing fights for stage or screen that take place any time after that, you're going to have to deal with the fact that these things exist. Now, there's a lot of good theory out there on what makes a good shootout, but this is a sword fight choreography YouTube show, so instead we're going to talk about how to make sure that the audience buys folks using a sword when guns are available. There's a couple of ways to do this. The first is what I call the cell phone method. See, filmmakers realized that most modern problems that had been writing tropes for years could be solved by someone picking up the phone and texting their friend or boyfriend or whatever. So in most films, in order to prevent that from happening, cell phones are out of service or they're broken or whatever. You can take a similar approach to guns. Maybe the person forgot a gun. Maybe the gun jams. Some other reason or excuse. The second approach is going completely in the other direction and establishing your characters as strong or as powerful or as fast that guns are no longer useful against them. They can just deflect the bullet or chop it in half or, something like that. You'll see this a lot in anime, although I think Star Wars counts as well. It's a bit more work to establish this one. You have to get your audience on board with your characters being as powerful as they are. But if you can get it done, it'll lead to some really exciting fight scenes. You will lose some of your, but that doesn't make sense, audience members, but that probably wasn't your goal if you're going this route. The third option is the screw it approach. This is present in films like John Wick and Equilibrium. We know the protagonists are super talented with guns. Guns have been ubiquitous throughout the whole movie, but when it comes time for the final fight, they pick up a sword instead. This really only works if your audience is all on the ride for the fight scenes themselves. If they really just want some good action sequences, they're not going to question why John Wick doesn't pick up a gun and just shoot the guys from the raid, because they want to see John Wick fight the guys from the raid. It's very exciting. This one's quite a bit more work to set up than any of the others. You have to have established a film and a tone where the audience is on board for that sort of thing, where they are there to follow the story you're telling and see the fights you're crafting without having to worry about whether it fits the quote-unquote real world. Of course, there's always option D, which is to craft your entire setting so that guns either no longer exist or never existed in the first place. Sometimes I wish we lived in that kind of world. Your homework for this week is to go and make a donation to the Sandy Hook Promise so I don't feel like I have to take quite as much of a shower after talking about guns for 5 minutes. See you next time, and remember to like, subscribe, sign up for our email newsletter, and as always, stick 'em with the pointy end.